Hi, and welcome to Spotlight Strategies. This month's strategy is called Categoria Sheets. Come along as I explain this strategy for getting your students to talk about academic vocabulary. It might be helpful to talk a little bit about lexicons before we introduce the strategy of Categoria Sheets. So when we talk about lexicons, it's the vocabulary of a person, language, or branch of knowledge. An example of this with our students might be when we are talking about animal classification in a science classroom. We begin by talking about animals, and then we further classify animals into groups of animals called birds and groups of animals called fish. And then we can also talk about the adaptations. Adaptations that birds have, adaptations that fish have. All of the vocabulary that you see here, all are part of the lexicon that would be under the category of animals. Another more sophisticated example would be this example of high blood pressure lexicons. Let's listen to this paragraph. This is a combination product that contains two medications, valsartan and hydrochlorothiazide. This combination medication is used to treat high blood pressure. Valsartan belongs to the class of medications called angiotensin II receptor blockers and helps to lower blood pressure by relaxing blood vessels. So all of the vocabulary in this paragraph would all be part of that greater lexicon category known as high blood pressure medication. All right, let me tell you how Categoria Sheets got started. I began as a high school Spanish teacher and often found myself teaching vocabulary and then allowing my students opportunities to talk about the content that we were learning. But my students would sometimes struggle to know all of the vocabulary words that were related to any given lexicon or branch of knowledge or group of words. So this is a strategy that I created to get them thinking about lexicons and encouraging them to use those lexicons in their academic speech.
So Carmen, you just told us a lot about Categoria. What does it look like in real life?
Okay, let me tell you what that looks like. So the Categoria sheets look like this. I created them to use with my high school Spanish students. Oftentimes, my students struggled to know what the lexicon of vocabulary words related to a given topic was. And so I would have these cut apart when they'd come into the room. And as they walked in, they would get one of these sheets and I would tell them the category. So, for example, the category could be ordering food in a restaurant. That was an applicable category for a high school Spanish class. So they would then brainstorm all of the vocabulary words related to that topic, all of the food items, beverage items, and verbs that would be related to ordering food in a restaurant. So they would brainstorm for a few minutes, and then I would tell them that they could get their notes out. So then they would get their notes out and continue brainstorming a little bit with the help of their notebook. That would be for a very short amount of time. When they were completed using their notebook as a resource, I would then tell them, now buddy up with the person sitting beside you and compare sheets. So the two students would sit side by side and they would each share the vocabulary that they had listed on their Categoria sheet. And they would add to their sheet whatever was missing. So in this way, before we even get speaking, we've worked together to create this great lexicon, all of the vocabulary related to a unit of study or the topic, content topic for that given lesson or maybe the week's lesson. When the students were finished brainstorming, I would have them stand up and face their partner. And then I would ask them to have a conversation. But initially, one person, so would have a partner A and a partner B. Partner A would be required to, using their Categoria cheat sheet, they would have to talk about the topic, the category topic, for 1 minute without any interruption. And then they would flip roles. Then partner B would speak to partner A for 1 minute on the given topic without any interruption. And in this way, it really forced the person, both students, to talk as much as they possibly could, given all of the vocabulary prompts that they had, to really talk about that topic. And it's a difficult task, more difficult than you would imagine, to talk for 1 minute on any given topic. But in this way, it really gave them the opportunity. It's less like a conversation, although you could have it turn into a conversation. It's sort of a precursor to a conversation.
I almost feel like this lends itself to those conversation lines, circles, and more that we talked about at the very beginning of the school year, that it could really flow into, like you said, leading right into a conversation.
Yeah, that's a great point, Shannon. Students are working on this face to face, partner A and partner B, but each time they would have that 1 minute monologue would really, if they had multiple opportunities to share with a different person, and they may, as they're listening to their partner monologue for a minute, they would be picking up new ideas, new vocabulary, hear how their partner has put the vocabulary together, and use syntax maybe that they hadn't thought of using. And I think so then to have them work with multiple partners in that circles and lines, I think that would be a great next step for this.
Yeah, the language development and concept development would be awesome.
Yeah. One last item. So some people have asked me, why didn't I change the name from Categoria when I started teaching ESL? It's a Spanish word. The reason I kept the word Categoria at the top is because Categoria in Spanish is the word category. And it's a great way to sort of open the door to address the topic of cognates. Words that look the same, sound the same, and have the same meaning in two different languages. So it's a great way to introduce that concept as well. So there you have it. Categoria sheets. Give it a try. Thank you for watching.